Hi, I'm going to talk about a book I'm really excited about. This is not a new book. It was published in 1985, so it's older than I am. You can also see it on the cover art that it's from the 80s. But it's a book that has really stayed with me throughout the years. So I actually have this, of sentimental reasons, I still have the first book. I've read it until it started to fall apart. I still actually prefers to read this, but I have bought a spare one because I'm not sure how long this one will survive. And I'm so thrilled about this book. It's one of my absolute favorites. I read it the first time when I was raiding my father's bookshelves, and he is a big science fiction nerd. I'm more fantasy, but the cover looked kind of interesting and I was bored. So this is the front, and when I saw it, I wanted to read it and I never gave it back. Yeah, he gave it to me. Okay, I didn't steal it this time. But throughout the years, this book has followed me. I'm thinking about it every year, every month. It's like a book I just can't let go of. So this is the front. So yeah, you can see the 80s art, but it's still really interesting. It caught my eye at least, and it's Cuckoo's Egg. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but it's the best I can do. By C J Cherryh. I have trouble with this letter. I think you pronounce it J. Let's go with that. So this is a science fiction book. Like I said, I am more towards fantasy, but this is the first science fiction book I read, and it's a bit different from anything else I've read throughout the years, because this one takes place with the aliens. You don't follow society through human eyes, but you follow it kind of like through the lens of these alien people. It's the alien society, and I haven't really seen that in anything else. But like I said, I'm not like worshipping this genre, so there might be other books out there that has this lens, and I've just missed it. And also this author, C J Cherryh, has written a lot of science fiction books, so she's actually a Hugo Award winner. So yeah, she's good. And what she does absolutely best is portraying the tension between people. But also the society is so interesting because we have this alien planet, and as you can see from the front, they do not look like us. So they have fangs and claws and fur all over. They decorate their homes differently. So we have the carpets and they have sand. And since their sense of smell is very strong, they always take care to fix that. So when they make their society, the sense of smell plays into it. And it's just fun to see how differently our society can be created. But we don't get to see too much of the society because of the point of view, the story. Now, there are some things of this book that I think sounds Japanese-like. So, the species is called shoninen. Let's see, shonen-in. And to me that sounds like shonen, which is Japanese word for boy. And Sei is general, Mingi, lord, and Hatani, it's the type of work that Dune does, the big furry guy right over here. So some of the things is Japanese sounding, to me at least. I don't know why. She might just have been inspired a bit by Japanese society. Who knows? And in this society we have like factions, so everyone is very divided. Like travel, it's by this group, they handle the things that are about travel, okay? But if it's like finances, you go to this group. If it's security, then it's this group. And they are like color coded, so if you belong to a certain group and you have that as your work, you will dress in a certain set of colors. So you can like just see someone on the street and understand, oh, they do that. So I do find that interesting. And Dune is like the big furry guy. He is a Hatani, and they are the most interesting, I think, on this planet, because they are judge, jury, and executioner. So if there's a conflict, it can be between lovers or neighbors or just two random people, and they go to a Hatani and say, I want you to make a judgment between us. Then the Hatani will look into it, he will form an opinion, and then he will act on it. And whatever he decides, that's how it is. It's the law. And we actually have an instance where this is like a really small story, but where a neighbor asks a Hatani, I want you to kill my neighbor because I hate him, he sucks. And Hatani says, okay, and he kills the one who asks him to kill the neighbor because now his suffering is over. And that's perfectly okay. If it's a Hatani, and the Hatani, they are a group, so they will stand by each other's judgments. And they are these super elite trained warrior types. So you can take like 15 random people and attack a Hatani, and the Hatani will still win because they are so elite. And Dune is a Hatani, and not only is he a Hatani, he is a general. And when we entered the book, we noticed that people really, they almost worship him. Not really worship, but he's like the super ultimate hero, and we don't know why. Also, he is, it shows a bit on this picture, he is scarred all over his body. So his one ear is torn, he has a ruined eye, his lips are mangled, he misses fingers on his one hand, and he has like scars like lightning going through half his body, and we don't know why. And we enter this book in the beginning. He is waiting for a baby, and he is patiently waiting, and these scientists come and gives him a baby, and he is repulsed because it's not a shonen baby, it's a human child. So it's fangless, clawless, furless, it smells bad, he thinks, and he doesn't like its eyes. He says they are like a storm because it's blue on white. Like almost everything about this child repulses him, but still he takes care of it. It's very important we understand that he is given this baby, and it's also quite clear that they have made this baby. How? Who can say? Well, I know, I read the book. So it's like this big mystery gets just thrown into, and he takes the baby to this isolated home in the middle of the woods, and around the woods are farms far off, and those who live there are forbidden from entering the forest. And in the forest he raises this human child. And we do get to follow the human child from being a baby to being a young man. And yeah, they have such interesting relationship because Dune is not the kindest parent. He plays mind games. He trains Thorn, the human, into absurdity. Like, it's so harsh training, where he will have to fight, where he will have to hunt, where he will have to work on his physical body a lot, but also mentally have to do this really harsh math puzzles, and if he doesn't manage to do them, he won't get food, and you know, it's harsh. I actually plan to read a little section from the books. So Dune forces Thorn to hunt, but not always animals. So this time he says, you are the prey and I am the hunter. Now go out and make sure I don't find you. So that's where we enter. And he's about 8 years old now. He's a little child. The gangling boy came up the trail thinking he was alert. Dune knew. Thorn looked this way and that. His calloused feet made very little noise on the dusty track among the rocks. Up, Dune hissed. Look up. Thorn's head came up. Dune had already moved, lost in the bush. The boy was still looking up when Dune hit him in the back with a thrown stone. Thorn spun around and threw. Thorn's stone rattled away down among brush and rock. Dune had evaded it with a fluid shift of his hip and stood untouched. Too late, Dune said. You're dead. I'm not. Thorn's shoulders slumped. He bent his head in shame, whirled and sped another rock underhand. Dune evaded that one too, without much more than shifting stance. Thorn did not look surprised, only exhausted, beaten at last. Dune grinned. Better, that did surprise me. The grin faded. But your choosing this track up didn't. That was your first mistake. How did I know? Can you figure that? Thorn gasped for breath, hunkered down on the path, arms on scabbed knees. Because I was tired. The climb's easier. Better still, you're right. Think ahead next time. And think in all directions. You know this path. You should have seen these rocks in your head before you came to them. No answer. Thorn knew. Dune knew that he knew. Thorn wiped his forehead across his face and smeared dust across his sweat. Even at this range, he stank of heat. Also, Dune reminded him with delicacy, when you came round the mountain, the wind was coming at your shoulder at an angle to the rocks. Do you see why that should have warned you? Thorn blinked, sweat, and wiped away. He had grown rankier, longer of limbs. The belly had gone hollow beneath the ribs, ridged with muscles above his loins. Brush scars showed white on his skin. Scent, he said. He gasped for breath. There was chagrin in his half-drowned face. Sorry. I'm sorry, Dune. Sorry won't save you. Scent death doesn't mean the world is. You're dead, Thorn. Yes, Dune. A faint hoarse voice. Shoulders slumped again. You won't catch me again, won't I? Dune, I'm hungry, Dune. Dune spun around the other side of the tree, leaned there looking at him and scowling. Hunt then, fool. Don't tell me what your needs are. I'll know where to find you. Don't trust me, Thorn. I'm not playing, Dune. Then neither will I be. Dune spun around again, head down slope. I'll hurt you this time, Thorn. Dune. And that's how his upbringing went. So I also like the names, because Dune, even if it's not spelled D-U-N-E but with two U's, it still makes me think of a very desert landscape. And thorn is this, you know, this thing that will hurt you, that will prick you. And even though it doesn't really face, like, it doesn't really portray their personalities, it does portray the kind of role they have to take in society and what they mean to it. So it's like an added depth that I find very interesting. So the play between the two characters I find enormously interesting because it's so layered, and Thorn is so dependent on Dune. He knows nothing about society. He only gets to meet the people that Dune has handpicked to help raising him, and Dune has forbidden them from speaking to Thorn because he doesn't want anyone to influence the boy but himself. So we do notice that people around are terrified of Thorn, because in the end he will meet other people in not the best of ways. And we don't know why is everyone so terrified of this boy or this human. So we also start to sense that there is this really huge political struggle. It's this conflict, and why is a Huttony raising a human child? What's going on here? And everything will come to this really huge climax. And I wish there was a follow-up to this book, because I so enjoyed the characters, but that's not it. This is what we get. It's a standalone book. It's roughly 300 pages, a bit more. It's about growing up, about facing one's fears, about what fear can drive you to. It's also about love in a sense, not romantic love, but between friends, between family, and what does it mean to be family? What is family? So both Dune and Thorn are forced to confront themselves in a way, yeah, it's just all very interesting. I love this book, so I can't recommend it enough. Please go and read it. Give it a chance.